What's up, guys? Here we go. Got my green drink. It's not AG1 though. I used to use AG1 quite a bit, and it's good. I think AG1's good. It's so expensive now, and now that they've gotten multiple celebrity endorsements, the price is just not. It's not. I think you're getting a good quality product, but I don't think it's worth the price. This, on the other hand, same testing. Flavor's not nearly as good, but the ingredients, what's behind it, the pricing, the consistency, the third party testing, all that, I'm going to go for it. I'm not going to plug it, but I just wanted to talk about the fact that there are AG1 alternatives out there. Anyway, that's not what this is about. I'm just getting ready to go work out. But I wanted to record this episode. It's so crazy to me. It's going to be March by the time you guys listen to this, and we're just rolling along. And so many things have changed from like January to now for me, as far as what my plans were for the podcast, my whole direction and trajectory of the show, the studio, which is now getting changed again. I can't talk about it. Not for anything big, and I say studio with air quotes, the little corner in my bedroom. It's getting changed again, and we'll dive into that once it changes. It has to. But I'm excited about it regardless. 2026 is a changing year. Got a new car. Yay! Long overdue. And you get a new car and you're like, what's that noise? Because you're not used to certain, it's a different car than I had. So you're not used to, where can I put this stupid thing? You're not used to the noises, how the engine runs, how it idles, how the air blows. You know what things sound wrong because, like somebody like me, I've been in that car or my old car for so long. I know what sounds wrong. I know what's wrong in that car. So I'm like, oh, that's normal. That's been that way for 5 years. This car, I'm like, I'm going to go get it looked at. And I mean, I've got a warranty on it, okay? So it was really cool because I had that first 7 days. If I change my mind, no questions asked, money back. Well, we're past that point. Then I have 100 days. 100 days, window doesn't roll down, light goes out. Weird things like that. Sound I don't like, they'll check it out free, boom. Then I have 24,000 miles, 2 years. That's the big stuff. So I'm excited to take care of something. I'm excited to have a new ride for myself and my son and be able to go on a road trip. Yeah, it's exciting. Having a car payment again is not exciting, but, I was blessed and I did the right thing and, just going to force me to budget. So that's cool. And there's a lot of other changes happening. Meanwhile, work is continuously kicking my butt. 80 hours, that's all I'm going to say. Anyway, talking about, I want to this is going to be a podcast of two sorts, just two sorts, if you will. I want to talk on the entertainment side for a minute. I need to take this hoodie off because it's about to be hot outside. It was nice this morning, semi-raining, or maybe it rained last night, but now I know it's going to be like 80 degrees out. Hold on, I'm going to shake it like a Polaroid picture for a second. Oh, yeah. And anyway, I put you guys on mute so you didn't have to hear me shake it. You know what I'm saying? Normally you have to pay for that. And I haven't started one of those accounts yet, so. There you go. So anyway, that being said, I want to talk about the big changes in streaming and the movie industry. And guys, I'm a movie guy, right? And entertainment, that's kind of been weaved into this podcast over the years. And now, recently, and I'm sure you guys have heard about it, you're aware of the Netflix, WB, Paramount love triangle, where Netflix was pretty darn close to buying Warner Brothers. Now, Warner Brothers has been beat up for years. Warner Brothers Discovery, they merged. Warner Brothers Animation, all of those Warner Brothers games, those are the key divisions in Warner Brothers. And Warner Brothers owns DC. Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman. We've talked in great lengths. I've had Nick Luck on the show. I've had others on the show. We've talked in great lengths about the disaster of Warner Brothers, DC's massive fumble in the movies. And whether you agree with James Gunn or not, they had a plan at least. A plan that was different, that was a reboot without doing the same thing over and over again, without diving into this origin story. And again, well, I'm not here to dissect James Gunn's way of filming or the movies he has slated or the movies the series and movies he's released. I'm not here to talk about that. I'm just saying that's been the chaos. Well, now Netflix is dropped out, and Warner Brothers will now be sold to Paramount. And you're asking yourself, well, how much, Brandon? And what does that mean? Well, I want to talk about it from a two-prong attack here. It's $110 billion, okay? $110 billion that is spearheaded by Paramount and Skydance, Paramount Skydance. Remember when that happened? This is something you guys need to remember because it's going to come back later. The deal is worth over $110 billion, and it's going to assume Warner Brothers, Discovery, and the debt that they have. The offer is about $31 a share. The acquisition is backed by $47 billion in equity from the Elson family, Larry Elson. Please remember these names, guys. And Redbird Capital Partners. I'm going to come back to that. Now, you have to look at this. CNN, HBO Max, DC Comics, CBS, Harry Potter, Star Trek, Warner Brothers Film Studios, Looney Tunes, which my son and I just watched the OG ones this morning. That's what's happening. Whoa, that's crazy. That means all that stuff will be together. No, okay, let's look at it from a different perspective. You already have a massive amount of streaming services, and we have seen changes over the years in the streaming platforms, not for the better. I guess we should have known that it was going to come at some point, but I guess I didn't see it happening as fast as it did. And what I mean by not for the better is you have seen multiple streaming services pop up on their own, which takes those entities that were on said streaming services. So you have a favorite show that was on streaming service A. Well, then that company that makes that extremely popular show that you love now created its own platform. So it's going to pull that show and everything else that it owns off streaming service A and put it on streaming service B. Well, now there's two choices. Do you keep streaming service A because it has other stuff on there and go buy a subscription for streaming service B, or do you drop one or the other? Some people tend to go to the first or second option. They buy both because a new platform usually offers a lot of good deals. $30 for the entire year, $4 a month, and 14-day trial. So you go check it out. And then as time goes on, obviously the increases, which we've seen across the board, happens. But what happens when streaming service C over here, who's kind of just been hovering, buys a studio? Well, now they own everything that's on streaming service B. And they're going to go, you know what? We're going to take all this back. And it's going to put it on this one, who's been hanging out, streaming service C. So now you have this triangle of streaming services buying and swapping, and I'm getting some weird noises on my mic, buying and swapping different things. And you have to make a decision. On a movie standpoint, when it comes to movies releases in the movie theater, which is already struggling, and I highly recommend that we continue to get to support movies. We continue to go to the movie theaters. We continue to not be lazy couch potatoes and stay eating up the slop they feed us on these platforms. We go and watch movies in the theater where they're intended. And I don't care what size, I'm going to go off on a tangent here. I don't care what size TV you have, what sound system you have. I don't care about that. Because the reality is, you can have the best in the world, but it's still in your house. Okay? And unless you're a millionaire, you're never going to get that massive massive quality for the most part. They're meant to be seen in a movie theater. It's also about getting out of your house. It's also about living in the experience and making it special. And I understand it's not cheap, but there are ways to make it less expensive if you just do minimal work. So I highly recommend, despite all these streaming services, despite the sound systems and TVs that you have, you go to the movie theaters. But now, what happens when these three streaming services, maybe two of them, merge? Now they own massive catalogs and they're going to take it from these other streaming services. And I think that this has been a bad thing. We've seen it with Disney. We've seen Disney by Universal, thank God. We've seen Disney by Hulu, Hulu as a standalone app is or platform is going to die this year. And it'll only be on Disney Plus. You'll have to buy Disney Plus. You can't just buy Hulu by itself. I think that's good for Disney Plus. I still think Disney Plus struggles. I like Disney Plus a lot. I watch lately. There's been a lot of things I've watched on there, but as a Disney side of it, I think they struggle with shows that aren't part of the big franchises, or Star Wars, Marvel, things like that. And they even struggle within that. But I think it's good for Disney Plus. I think they need to work on their platform organization a little bit better. They're getting there. You go on it, you can select Disney Plus, Pixar, Hulu, and then you can break it down. I want to go to the Star Wars collection, Marvel collection, classics, things like that, ESPN, National Geographic. But I think they need to tweak it out a little. Paramount Plus, I've said it time and time again, without Tyler Sheridan, that app has been trash. And they've always had this Showtime, add-on that you can have. And for what I've never done it, I tend to buy Paramount Plus in chunks. So I'm like, okay, there's some movies on there, there's some shows. I'm going to buy it and pay for it for 2-3 months, watch everything and cancel it. It's just not something I want to continue to pay for. I've always done the now, which will be defunct soon, the Disney Plus, Hulu, HBO Max combo. That has always been one of my favorite. You can hear that? Oh, that sounds gross. That's been one of my favorite combos for the price. Ones I watch the most of, what have you. Honestly, with Netflix, I could give and take. I could cancel it right now and not be upset for a while. Because, granted, One Piece season 2 is coming out. And there's a couple other things, but when I think about what I watch on Netflix, is minimal. My son watches a decent amount, but it's minimal. I could take a break from it. So Paramount Plus has always been an on-off for me. Now, that deal of HBO Max and Hulu and Disney Plus is going to go away because they are going to take HBO Max and merge it with Showtime and Paramount Plus. That's all going to be on there. I don't know how they're going to do it. I don't know. I think it's stupid if they got rid of the HBO brand. I don't think they're going to do that, but that's going to be on there. That being said, I don't know when that takes place. There's a lot of red tape they got to go through. They got to figure out, is it a monopoly? It is, and we're going to get to that. And what does that mean? But what does that mean for movies? Netflix came out and was very open about killing the movie theater. The CEO was very adamant about destroying the movie theater and that people don't want to go anymore. We can put out quality on Netflix. And if you notice, Netflix formula has leaked into Hollywood, especially the latest Scream 7, which, by the way, I have zero desire to see for a multitude of reasons. It looks generic. The reviews suck. Didn't really care about the last couple. It looks AI, like ChatGPT wrote the script. Nostalgia bait, the whole firing and hiring, but it looks like it should be on Netflix. Netflix has a certain feel for movies. I'm not saying that Netflix shows and movies haven't been awesome at times, but when they crank it out, they get these high dollar celebrities, big budgeted films, they throw out slop, and they're pretty generic. You can sit there and say, oh, it's something to put on in the background. Well, we got to stop doing that. I'm not paying for just something to put on in the background. I could put music on in the background. I could put a podcast on in the background. I could put a books on, audio book on in the background. I'm not paying, $14 to $30 a month to just put something on in the background. I know you're going to have that mixed in there. Not everything's going to be a banger, but anyway, that's all I'm saying. So that's going to be interesting. But my concern with Paramount and WB is they do want to make movies, right? And they still continue to put things out on physical media, which physical media, despite what you think, is important. I'm staring at a big collection right now. Because why? Because when you buy those movies, I can't tell you how many times I've said that. When you go to, forget buying, you go to stream a movie that's on Netflix. It's only on there for a short period of time. And with more of these people coming out with their streaming channels, they're not going to lease these movies out very long or very much and limit the way they release these movies to other platforms because they want you to buy their monthly subscription. I mean, think about it. If I own this drink, okay, and I sell it to you, and you make it every day for X amount of dollars, but then I decide, you know what? I want to open a store or a restaurant for my drink. I'm going to bring this drink back because I'd rather have people come to my restaurant than lease it out to you for 30 days. I'd rather have 300 people in my restaurant consistently. They're doing that with movies. So you could watch a movie on Netflix. Maybe you don't even have any other streaming service. And then they take one of your favorite shows or movies away. You don't own it. So you have a choice. Do I wait till it comes back? What if it doesn't come back? Well, I'll just buy it digitally. Well, here's the thing. You don't always own them digitally because eventually they could say, nah, sorry, we're going to buy all the rights back. And even though you bought it, you don't get it because it's off of that streaming platform. That has happened. So I buy physical media. There's also movies too that they just don't put out. They just don't put out from a movie collector and a movie fan. They just don't put out on anything. So I buy physical media. But Warner Brothers says they will continue to release movies on physical media. I think it's going to shrink, and we'll believe it when I see it. And they say they want to put out about 32 to 40 movies a year in the movie theaters. We'll see. Because that just shot my eye like I don't want to say what I was going to say. That shot my eye. That's hilarious. Bruh. My eye can see perfectly now. I'm a mutant. That's hilarious. I almost dropped it. That's why. And it was like, beep. I should have drank this before I went on the show. Somebody will complain. I don't give a shit. So they are putting out movies. We'll see. We'll see what the length of that movie is, meaning the length of time it's in the theater and if it'll hit physical media. Netflix was very open that they weren't going to do that. They kind of changed their tune at the end, but we don't know what that's going to mean for Gunn. Gunn is very outspoken about his beliefs. I don't know. I imagine he's not going to hurt his job. We all have to work for people that we disagree with, but are they going to reset? Or are they going to let Gunn finish his plans for the DC Comics? I don't know. But I'm not exactly happy about this. I do think that WB has been run by a bunch of lemmings and idiots and all that, and that's why they're in this position. I wouldn't have wanted them to go to Netflix either, okay? Because they have no problem telling you what they're going to do. My problem is the other side telling us not what they're going to do. And the reason I say that is because if you start looking at the WB and ByteDance, Paramount ByteDance, you see who owns it. It is owned by David Ellison. He serves as CEO and chairman. They formed it in August 2025 through an $8 billion merger between Skydance Media and Paramount Global. The company is backed by Redbird Capital. Ellison is the son of Oracle co-founder Larry Ellison. Okay, so let's go on that. Larry Ellison, Oracle. Remember that? Son. Remember that Trump, and this is not an anti-Trump thing, but it doesn't matter. It should be. It just shows you how corrupt this world is. Remember how Trump basically approved this and pushed this Skydance Paramount thing together? So who's Redbird Capital? Let's go there. You don't know who Redbird is. So Redbird Capital is a company that invests in a lot of things. At one point, the Gary Cardinal, it's a private equity firm funded by major institutional and family investors, not publicly traded. Some of their investments are media, sports, and all that. For example, major investment / ownership, Fenway Sports Group, which is Liverpool, Boston Red Sox. And they also have AC Milan. Okay, remember that. So Gary Cardinal, there's a bunch of other people. There's also somebody else who's a major investor on the board, and I'm going to butcher his name, and I don't care, because what do you want from me? Mansour bin Zahid Al Nahyan. Sheikh Mansour, he is here. He is the vice president of the United Arab Emirates, which is an island just not too far from Dubai. And you can go through everything he's done. What he's done from the Abu Dhabi United Group, the Abu Dhabi royal family, which acquired Man City in 2008. You can look at all of this. So he's on there. So Redbird, major money. Larry Ellison owns Oracle. His son owns WB. Well, now he does. Larry Ellison's 81 years old. He's net worth on, as of 2026, $197 billion. I imagine that's going to change. He co-founded the company Oracle and was its CEO from 1977 to 2014. He currently serves as its CTO and executive chairman. Oracle. Man, what is Oracle? You guys know. You've heard the name, right? They brokered a deal. It's an US-based information technology company. Okay, what does that mean? Well, I'm not going to dive into what it means. But I'm going to tell you that this gets deep. Oracle, major ties to the US government. They have started a cloud infrastructure, and it has spawned numerous government cloud apps that are approved to be integrated with the government database. Massive. They have a massive government contract. Civilian defense, intelligent community, communication and community agencies have access to Oracle's Generation 2 Enterprise Cloud and its comprehensive cloud and computing services profile. It also has been approved for over 80% of our health information to keep it safe. Any public health services, it has access to this. Contracts have recently been signed, increased under the Trump administration. Well, why, Brandon? Why have they been increased? Well, because Oracle is a massive supporter of Donald Trump. Massive. He owns 98% of the land on Lanai. Am I saying that right, guys? Lanai? The sixth largest of the Hawaiian Islands. He owns 98% of the land. These billionaires love their islands, let me tell you. I need you guys to follow with me because I'm going back to this, but this should just tell you what's going on. He was raised by Reformed Jewish home by his adoptive parents. I don't care, except for the connection to Israel and the current Israel regime, which I think is a massive problem. And of course, the United States being connected to Israel as well. It talks about, you could literally dive into this, but let's just go further down and see what he's done in Europe, what he's done with the United States, what he's done to help his billionaire friends, like, I don't know, David Murdoch's company. I could go on. He's also been behind some things in the Wall Street Journal. They bought NetSuite for $9.3 billion. They are buying up all these cloud services. Okay. He was on the board of, in 2018, on the board of Tesla, and he purchased 3 million shares that year and left Tesla in 2002. Okay. So you see where he got his money from. His political involvement is the problem. He donated to both the Democrat and Republican politicians in 2012. In 2014, he hosted Republican Senator Rand Paul at a fundraiser in his home. He's been behind Mark Rubio's and PAC, of course. And in 2020, he allowed President Trump to have a fundraiser at his Rancho Mirage estate. Ellison was not present. But in 2022, he donated $15 million to the Operating Matters Fund Super PAC associated with Senator Tim Scott, one of the biggest financial contributions in the midterms. He's also been behind Lindsey Graham, Trump. He's helped Trump with personal attorneys. He's donated to Trump. I can't begin to tell you. He also let go of his lawyer so that Benjamin Netanyahu could hire the lawyer and get him out of one of good old Netanyahu's corruption cases. He also offered Netanyahu a board on Oracle. Keep this in mind and see what's happening, folks. The same year, they went and vacationed on the island that essentially Hawaii, one of the islands that Ellison owns. Oracle owns TikTok now, thanks to Trump. Oracle now has all that data on top, which they already housed US data, but now they have full access to what they feed, what they promote, what they push, what they subdue, and the algorithm on Oracle. They've now signed multiple defense contracts with the United States, more so in the last 6 months than ever. They've signed contracts as well to work with Israel and specifically Benjamin Netanyahu. His son now owns Paramount, Skydance, WB, HBO, all these entities. Oracle will house the data for that as well. And when you signed up for that, once that merger takes place, and it might have already happened with the ByteDance, or not ByteDance, Skydance, once you sign up for Paramount Plus, HBO Max, your Oracle will have that information as well. It's not just about having information and saying, guys, the information's everywhere, everybody has it. It's, do you see what's happening here? Besides the fact that they're tricking you back into cable, and we're going to be paying cable prices at more, actually, if you think about it. But you see what's happening? The billionaires are weaving their way more than ever. Control, 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 control. And this has always happened. I know that. And this has happened under multiple administrations. But I say this again. Guys, the power in this country is a very small percentage of people. And it's like, 100 families in the world that are running things, okay? And the power in this country is getting ridiculous. And I don't understand. I don't get it. I don't get it for the life of me. If I have somebody dressed up in a white cloak, or there's pictures of him in a white cloak, and you know what I'm talking about, screaming about equality, screaming about how he's going to help, you know, uh, poverty-ridden communities, how he's there for the black man, he's there for the immigrants who want to come into this country and make better for themselves. But there's all this footage of him in white cloaks. Why would you vote for him? This is what I don't understand. You think Trump, who's made millions, I don't truly know because I haven't looked what Trump's worth, because I always take it with a grain of salt. And mind you, I understand that all these politicians make way too much money, and you have to be rich to even be in this game, because otherwise, when you start off doing nothing, once you get to that level, it's ridiculous. I mean, they work for us, but there's so much money they make, investments and corruption. But so I understand that. Well, Trump was this way before he got on in office, and now, and despite his bankruptcies and all that, he's approximately worth 6.5 billion to over 7 billion, driven largely by Trump Media and Technology Group, True Social, investments in cryptocurrencies. And during his first term, his wealth fell, but he's still making money. In 2025, they valued his net worth at 5.1 billion. We have a president who's talking about taxing the rich, yet he hangs out with the likes of Ellison. We're talking about how he is there for the American people, and that the poor people need to stop paying these prices. I mean, think about it. Go back and listen to what he ran for. And this isn't turning into a Trump thing. I'm just trying to tell you what's happening with some of our favorite things, movies and entertainment. And he's talking about, oh, we got to do this. You know, these people are making billions over there. They're making billions. You know what? I guarantee you this person's going to start a war if his ratings plummet. We're going to release these files and people are going to get arrested. What? You handed the Elson family billions. You put them in a position to leverage them to buy Warner Brothers. You handed them TikTok so they could control it. Netanyahu wanted it, and you gave it to him. You handed more of your friends billions and billions. How can you believe somebody that has $5.6 billion, 6.57, whatever? I don't care if he's got one, dude. Because the percentage of people that have $1 billion in the United States is so minuscule compared to the people like you and me. And you believed him. Oh, this guy's going to fight for us. You got some podunk dude in West Virginia with a mega hat on saying, I believe him. He's going to drain the swamp. He is the swamp. He's just a different swamp. Okay? Because I want somebody to make it make sense to me. Make it make sense. And mind you, if this is somebody else in office doing this, I'm going to call them out too. I'm an equal opportunity call out. I'm going to wear my MAGA hat while I sit in a trailer falling off a mountain. I'm not bashing their lifestyle. I'm just saying that's what we see it all the time. He's gonna get rid of them corruption and them Democrats. You know, he's gonna get rid of them. Okay. Well, nobody's arguing that they're not corrupted, but okay. So he's gonna get rid of them. Yeah, and we gotta stop our border because drugs. Don't you have like a meth house in your backyard, bro? We gotta stop that, and we're gonna get some money. Probably some stimulus checks. So I can buy some Coors Light. No, he built it on racism. He spoke to their base in a way that they would understand. America, America, America. That sounds great. We should be, but we're not about America because we're bombing Iran, right? We all wanted that. Netanyahu's been preaching since the 90s that they're going to get weapons of mass destruction. They've literally pulled the playbook from Iraq. Literally. Nobody's sitting here saying that the leadership in Iran and the dictatorship in Iran is good. When we saw them marching in the streets and we saw women freely speaking, dancing, having a good time, I support that. They should be. Stop. They should rise up and take their people out and not be suppressed. Not disagreeing. I'm not disagreeing that Iran would love to drop a nuke on us. I'm not disagreeing that they probably were trying to figure out how to gain power. But since the 90s, Netanyahu was preaching that, and here we are in 2026. And I thought like 6 months ago, we obliterated, according to Trump, we obliterated the nuclear program, but yet we were just weeks away. They were weeks, days away from creating a nuke. Which one is it? And we just went and did it. Just like we went to Venezuela, kidnapped the dude who sucked and left for oil, openly admitted it, for oil. What's going on over there right now? Who's running Venezuela? What is happening? We haven't heard about it. Haven't heard about it. Meanwhile, his billionaires, his contract buddies, the people he's promised contracts to are making money. Tell me how that makes sense, how you voted for somebody like this, who said no more wars. We're not doing it, but yet went on the offense multiple times. Who said we're going to release the Epstein files and arrest people? Nobody's arrested. Literally farming babies on there. People are resigning. They still get to keep their pension. They still get to keep their money and live their life. The only people that are getting arrested are overseas. Nobody's arrested here in the United States. Nobody. Our eyes are wide open to the cult of the royal the royal families, of the elites, of these secret societies that have been here for years that we allowed to happen. And they want us to read these files. They want us to dive in, to be desensitized so they can get ready for what's happening next. Everything that we talked about, the conspiracy theorists talk about, is coming true, guys. They bought WB for the billions of dollars to funnel right back in to Oracle. Think about this. Think about this. Ellison's son gets his money. Daddy has Oracle. Ellison's son is still connected to Oracle. Our money goes into that, goes into Oracle, goes to the U.S. government so they can own more of the defense programs and they can have the contracts and then they can feed that money to Israel for the Iron Dome. I mean, hear me out. Feed that money to the Iron Dome, to this, so Israel can go on its war. Because I'm going to tell you right now, and this has nothing to do with religion, belief, or persecution right now. This has to do with frickin' Benjamin Netanyahu, who does not care about the people of Israel. Well, he might care about certain people. He only cares to do what he wants to do so that he wins. And it's obvious. Why is he on television telling us on American television that the United States is doing the right thing? Meanwhile, American women, children, and whatever are in danger, and American women and our military are dying. American dying. You're doing the right thing. Reporters, look at what Iran did. They bombed us. This is a war crime. I'm sorry. Isn't your guy absolutely up for charges as being a war criminal? Look, nobody's saying anything. Everybody has a right to defend themselves. Everybody. You bomb somebody, they're going to bomb you back. That's life. Okay. What has happened in Israel, the massacres, Don't get me started. Horrible situation. But let's not sit here and say that you didn't commit one of the biggest genocides in years. You were literally trying to ethnic cleanse Palestinians. Guys, we as Americans can't sit here. My cat's gone crazy. He's getting old too. He's having some issues. And say that one side is other. It's okay to bomb Iran and it's okay to do this. And, they're still out there that what we killed a bunch of children, a school with children. Oh, well, they built those schools in that way on purpose so we can look bad. I don't care. With all of our technology, we still killed them. Nobody's saying anything about that. We're investigating. Iran fires back, blows up a building in Israel. It's a war crime. Instantly, not an investigation. And look, they're scumbags. Everybody's scumbags. But I'm just saying, this is who we're supporting. And this is what Oracle is doing. They are help funding that in our taxpayer dollars and our entertainment dollars. It's stressful. But that's who's owning. And that's why it's got to be like a monopoly, right? It's got to be a monopoly. And it sucks. Because all I want to do is watch movies, bro. All I want to do is watch a freaking movie. So now I'm like, okay, I got to buy more movies. So I contribute one time and then I just buy it. And now I own it. I don't have a subscription. And I think that's the direction I'm going. Because it's everywhere. And I think we know it's everywhere. And we have to make a stand at some point. Oops, sorry. Just kicked my table. We have to make a stand at some point. We have to make a line in the sand. And it's hard. You have to make sacrifices. We have to stand up. Nothing is going to happen unless we do something. And there's been voting going on in Texas, and I've been following it. And it's, look, both sides are garbage. They're trash. One side just hides it better. The other side is blatant about it. But I fear that the road is paved, and what's coming is, I would not be surprised as we talk about how great things are going in Iran with our war that we started. By the way, take we out of it. Nobody, no, who's we? You started it, not me. Government, not me. Brandon Rivera, not started it. I think the way things are going, though, there's going to be some really scary things coming up. I think we need to pay attention to this Oracle stuff and AI and all that. I think it's about to get gross, Also, AI is just so cringe. I'm seeing so much more AI commercials, apps. It's creepy, especially all over Meta, which shocking, right? Zuckerberg, don't worry. He just moved to an island right off of Miami. I don't know what island it is because I've been to Miami, but what island is it? It's still part of Miami. I'm confused. And just bought a new mansion, him and his girlfriend or wife or whatever she is. That's the thing when you become a millionaire, right? Billionaire, you just buy an island. Speaking of that, guys, before I go, though, because I don't want anybody to forget about this, it's going to be interesting to see what happens. I'm more interested to see what happens with, on an entertainment side, what happens with pricing and what happens with James Gunn. Those are the things I want to keep an eye on because we have Supergirl coming out this summer, which I'm stoked about. I am so stoked to watch Supergirl. I am more excited about that than most movies. And not just because she looks amazing. I liked the OG Supergirl, and I like the direction they're going with this one from the comic storyline and all that. I'm excited about it. Plus, Lobo's in it. Bro. But real quick, I just want to talk about this because it's important to remind people that I have not forgotten, and I don't think we should forget. Let's talk about UCLA professor Mark Tremo. Okay? Mark Tremo, still a 10-year. Oh, you gonna make me pay for it? No. Still a 10-year. He's got tenure there, so it's hard to fire somebody like that at UCLA. But let's talk about him real quick, okay? Because there was a UCLA removed a webpage showcasing a professor after emails revealed that 12-year-old correspondence with Jeffrey Epstein. The professor, Mark Tremo, says he was unaware of charges of sex abuse of minors when he sought research funding from the financer. Unaware of it, but this was back after he already got arrested and Florida let him go. Mind you, Jeffrey Epstein had an office at UCLA, and I told you this in one of my videos. They had meetings about behavioral patterns and how to make people think things aren't as bad as they are, and investigations into children at UCLA, but he didn't know. He was seeking $500,000 donation from Jeffrey Epstein to boost research into how sound like lullabies or a mother's voice could reduce pain, stress, and heart rates among babies. That's kind of weird anyway. But let's talk about this. He was in there hundreds of times. Among them, a 2007 email in which the professor expressed support to Epstein amid prostitution charges. Tremo, I guess he faced some backlash or what have you. He was supposed to have a class yesterday. People are protesting and it was canceled. But here's the other thing. Tremo, I never knew anything about him. I never visited his island, never flew in his planes, and never saw him with young girls. I've been subjected to harassment. But meanwhile, during the time that Jeffrey Epstein was in Florida for a sex crime involving a minor in 2008, which is public news, and since he has an office at UCLA, you think you know this, Tremo talked to him. One of the emails also talked about how Jeffrey, if he ever had any problems getting babies to suck on pacifiers harder. What the email does that even mean? Okay, I'm gonna leave it there because I can't, guys. I can't because I'm imploring UCLA to handle this and the students protesting. Please let somebody be there and protest really hard. Okay, we gotta protest hard. There is another person. There's emails of a Yale professor and somebody over at the University of Arizona who visit his New Mexico ranch. By the way, the one that a Texan just bought. But anyway, who's running for office, Huffines. He sent Epstein an email describing an undergraduate as a good-looking blonde and said, hey, you should hire her. She also has a younger sister. These people were still employed. Now, the fallout from Tremo's communication and Epstein is happening. It's reaching a massive level. The university page directory is now put a different professor with the class. That being said, there is a thing on change.org, and you guys can look it up, to fire Mark Tremo. And there's signs everywhere, and they should fire him because this is enough. You can figure out a way to fire him. There are people who've been fired for less, but they've got over 12,000 signatures already, and that was yesterday. I imagine it's closer to 15,000. Don't forget, guys, this is everywhere. These people still have jobs. I can't make an inappropriate joke, and I would never even talk like that because my mind isn't there. An inappropriate joke. And by inappropriate, what's the level? My level of inappropriate, it's like the scale's off, but a normal comment, and I could get fired. What is happening here? We're protecting everybody. I have to remind people that this stuff is out there because I'm worried that as we get back to whatever this normalcy is, and as we sit there and get desensitized, and as we sit there and we try to go through our daily lives, we forget. So I will constantly tell people, you can do something. Fire, vote, whatever. Boom. And voting's trash too, but at least vote these guys out. Matter of fact, it'd be awesome if nobody showed up to vote ever. They'd be like, wait a minute, we don't have any votes. That'd be the biggest middle finger. Oh, I guess we'll just stay in office. No, that's not how it works, buddy. We're just going to take you guys out. And I'm going to stop there because I don't want to go off on this tangent, but back to Paramount. It's going to be really interesting to see how. I think it was interesting that Netflix bowed out. There's a reason for it. Was it pressure? Are they going to get something, a sweetheart deal on the back end? I wouldn't be surprised if this was just to jack the price up so they get a cut of it and they don't have to deal with all the headache. I don't know what's going to happen, but now you have Paramount Plus, Showtime, WB, HBO, Discovery under one umbrella. You now have Disney, Hulu, National Geographic, Marvel, everything like that under one umbrella. And then you have Netflix by itself. Amazon has bought some rights to some things, Lord of the Rings, they got that, part. And then, of course, they own all the James Bond stuff now, which is crazy. We need Sony to die, essentially, so that Marvel can get the rest of these characters so Sony doesn't butcher them again. But yeah, anyway, it's going to be interesting. So that's it. I'll see you guys next week. I'm tired.